Great evening, everyone, and welcome to the second season of Moments of Motivation
Hey,
with Michelle.
Michelle,
We are
who's
here
on the show
live
today?
and in our studio with none other than
Ooh,
LV
you're gonna love this one.
How you doing, LV? How you
She'll
doing?
tell you anything you wanna know. She'll take you anywhere you wanna go. You know her conversations are so real. And no matter who she's talking to, her interviews will turn into moments of motivation with Michelle.
So we can
Oh, it's time for moments of motivation with Michelle.
I can't hear you.
Hey, the video was playing.
The video.
So you gotta do that reintroduction.
Good afternoon, good evening, good night, good morning. Hello, everybody. It has been crazy for the last 30 minutes. This is the second season of Moments of Motivation with Michelle, and I am so excited. And it seems like every time we get excited, something always happens. However, we are very resilient, and we were not going to allow technical difficulties to stop us from going on with this show tonight. I am so excited to be entering to season number 2 with none other than LV Hamer. Yes,
Hey,
hello.
how are you? I'm trying to share to the people.
I am great. How are you doing? Share. Hey, listen, if you on here while he's sharing out the video, please do us a favor. Like, tag, share, love this video. Share it out on Facebook, on YouTube, on Instagram, wherever you are. Again, we've been having some technical difficulties, but we're going to go forth and go ahead with this conversation tonight with LV Hamer. So listen, this young man is doing great. We hear a lot of things about young people. They say that, a lot of our young men are in jail. They're on drugs, they're doing this and they're doing that. It's always something negative. However, this young man here is making some headlines, making waves. And a lot of times people say that, they don't see anything good that comes out of a small city, small town that's drug infested, gang infested, whatever it may be. But every now and again, you find someone who goes against the grain. Someone who decides, you know what, I understand what you guys are saying, but that's not how my mama, my grandma, my daddy raised me. And I know that there's something better out there for me. So, hey, I want to introduce LV to you all. He is from the big city of Laurinburg, North Carolina. Give it up for Laurinburg. Yeah. Yes, he's from the big city of Laurinburg, North Carolina, where his parents are Sharon and Mike Hamer. I'll let him do more of his introduction to tell you more about him, what it is that he's doing. And hey, we're going to go with this conversation tonight. Thank you guys for joining on with us. And again, please like, tag, and share this broadcast tonight. This is our first season, and I'm opening up with my friend, LV Hamer.
Hey, Michelle, thank you for having
Hey.
me. This is your second season, and I'm kicking it off. I can't believe that. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'm excited to be here tonight. Thank y'all for y'all patience. We had technical difficulties for like 30 minutes.
Yes.
Came on early too, but thank you for being here tonight. I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having me. I'm really
Thank
honored.
you. And I thank you for your patience as well. We tried, we couldn't hear one another. He was sounding like Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck, all that stuff. I'm like, I can't hear you. I can't see you. Then he couldn't hear me. And, but anyway, we're going to go forth. So, LV, number one, the first thing I want to know is who is LV? What does LV Hamer, what does that name mean?
Yeah, so LV Hamer is it's kind of my stage name. It's kind of what I go by publicly these days. Those who know me from Laurinburg, my family, everybody, my friends, my actual name is Levern. I love my name. I'm named after my
Not Laverne, but Levern.
Levern, yep, with an E. And it's the elongated E. And I'm named after my uncle and my Uncle Vern. But I love my name. I just think that, for all my life, people have always mispronounced it. And so I knew that God was propelling me into kind of in a more public space. And so I said, just to really alleviate kind of the challenge of that, I just, kind of went with LV. In fact, I was in a discipleship class a couple years ago, and my instructor just, for the life of him, could not pronounce my name. And so he just kept saying LV. And I said, you know what? I like that. And so from that moment, I just kind of stuck with it. And it's easy. It's 2 letters. And so, yeah, that's how LV.
So that's it, you guys. LV.
Yep.
LV. And if you're from Laurinburg, it's okay if you say Levern, but he goes by the name of LV Hamer.
Yeah.
So LV, tell me, I remembered you from a little bitty boy running around Matthew's Chapel Church down there in the country.
Yeah.
That's where I met you with your mom, your grandmom, and a lot of your family members. Some of those great people who are going on, and I'll pause for a moment just to remember them and, all the things that they instilled in all of us to be good, to have great morals and values, and not just that, but to serve God with all of our mind, heart, souls, and our spirit. And I would like to say that I'm very impressed at the fact that you, before we came on, asked me if we were going to pray. You're the second young man who did that, and that just always touches my heart, because I love the Lord. I've been knowing the Lord for a long time. Not without mistakes or not without errors, but I love God, and I know that you do. And so, with that said, tell me a little bit about your upbringing.
Yeah. Well, like you said, I miss my grandmother. Both of my grandmothers have gone on out to heaven. And actually, both of my grandmothers, their names were Dorothy. And so Precious, in fact, they actually named me. They both took a part in naming me. So they're precious to my heart and to my upbringing. And as you said, I'm from Laurinburg, North Carolina, in a small country town, but with big dreams. And so my parents had me what would be considered these days late in life. And so only thing I knew was church. In fact, I would say that I was born in church, because I was my pastor back home, Pastor George C. Ellis. I was the first baby he ever christened. And so he's been there ever since I've been born, which has been 28 years. So I literally have been in church, but it was, I had been doing church for years and years, and, and then I've gone to college, and it was my junior year in college is where I really began to understand religion over relationship. And so relationship, man, I'm telling you, has been the difference of the world to me, because you can grow up in church, you can do all the things, you can be religious and go to Wednesday night Bible study and Sunday and this and the third, but if there's no relationship, no anything that is solid foundation, you're just kind of doing rituals, you're just kind of running the rat race of religion and running behind something that's really not attainable, and that's to try to get it right all the time. But the thing about it that changed me and that shaped me is finding Jesus on my own.
I love it.
And really understanding who he was for me, not my grandmother or my grandfather or my mother's or my dad's faith, but literally finding Christ for myself. And from there, it has really set my life on a different path, more than I can ever imagine. And sometimes it's like, whoa, I just, because one thing you want to do this, but if you want to please God, if he's telling you to move this way, then you move that way, even if it's not a part of what you thought was the plan.
Awesome. So Levern, LV, you said a few things that I want to make sure that I highlight, because we have a lot of parents who are sending their children off to college, and they worry about, are those morals and values going to stick with them? Or are they going to continue to serve the Lord while they're in college? And you just made it clear that you can still have a relationship with God as a young adult while you're in college. While there's all the partying and all that stuff going on around you, you still can make the right decision to do the right thing. And that right there, I love it, because I have a cousin who just went to college, and she went over, I think she's over at A&T, and we love her, and we pray God's covering and protection over her. And we have church on Sundays. We're on live, and guess what? I see her on live, and that speaks volumes to me. So I want to say to you, thank you for holding on to your relationship, not just holding on to your relationship with God, but continuously building on your relationship with God, because it's an everyday thing that we have to do.
Oh my gosh, that you said it. It is it's a ever ending thing. It's you always learning. It's always new. It's always fresh.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, Laverne, excuse me, LV, please forgive me.
No,
Tell me some of the things that you do or have done, some of the experiences you've had. I saw where, you've had some experience acting in commercials and all of this other stuff. Tell us a little bit about that and how you got started.
Yeah, so I'm a business artist, and so an artist who some people may not understand that term, but a business artist is an artist who tell stories from the boardroom, from behind the scenes, or on camera. So that just means that I am not just subject to one thing, as I'm not just an actor, I'm not just a manager, I'm not just a production person, but I encompass all those things, and so it's all those things in one. And that's what makes me a business artist. My mind is I'm a business person. I think we just lost Michelle. But I am a business person. So if you hopefully you still can see us, guys. It looks like we're still live. For those who are listening, I am a business artist, and I am someone who has business knowledge, but also I'm an artist too. And sometimes people tell you that those two things can't coexist, but I'm a living witness to show you that you can be an artist, but you also can make business moves too. And so, and if you're really working your career, that you're an entrepreneur, you are a business minded person, because you're trying to go out, market yourself, or do whatever you need to do to ensure that you get that you're successful in whatever area that you're in. So that is kind of what business artist is. Michelle, can you still hear me? Hey there.
If you guys can hear me, I would like to say this to you. When you see me on live, it is difficult for us to continue a live broadcast when you see me on live and you start calling and texting. You interrupt the broadcast for some crazy reason. I've turned my phone, so you can't interrupt me. But for some crazy reason, the calls are coming through. I cannot see LV. I cannot hear LV, and it is really, it's really frustrating when you guys do that. Yes, I can hear you.
Okay.
So please, you see us on live, don't text me, don't call me or anything like that. My phone is on do not disturb, but for some reason it's coming through. It's just enough. I don't like the interruptions. So please, okay. So did you go into the whole thing about how you got started as an actor?
Not yet. I was speaking to the business artist thing. So how I got started. I've been acting since third grade. One of my aunts, was getting her hair done at my mom's house, and she saw a theater camp in Laurinburg, and it was instructed or directed by Tyrus Jones, one of the storytellers in Laurinburg. And she saw the newspaper, brought it to my mom, and she said, I think he might be interested in this. And so she asked me, and I said, you know what, let's give it a try. And little did I know that moment of her kind of giving me this peek into this world of theater started something revolutionary inside of me, of storytelling, of acting, of singing, of the different parts of the art. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, okay. And so it really started there when I was in third grade. In fact, when I was in third grade and I did the camp, the camp was maybe for like 2 weeks or maybe a month. and I got one of the lead roles. And that was the first time I was able to kind of see myself in this way of like, oh my gosh. And then from there, because where I'm from, they don't have, theater in middle school or anything like that, but we used to do theater in church. So that same aunt will continuously have different art shows, and I will put my own things on as well. I got involved with the NAACP when I was in high school, and then I got involved with theater in high school. And it was when I did The Wiz under the direction of Dr. Edmondson that's when I was like, oh, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. And so it has been since third grade and to now. It's been a love-hate, but it's definitely been exciting.
Okay, so tell us some of the things that you've done. You said you did The Wiz.
Yes. Yeah, and so in high school, I did the Wiz, but professionally or upon graduating high school, of course, I went to school. I got a 4-year degree in theater arts administration. I actually thought that I was going to be doing acting. I actually started doing acting at NCCU, acting and management, but I really wanted to go to Howard, and I went to Howard. And I always say in my hope of rejection letter at Howard, they said that they had basically their acceptance for the acting program was filled. And so they saw that on my resume that I was into management. They said if you they wrote in my rejection letter, they said, hi, you didn't make it to the acting program, but would you be interested in the management program, the administration program? And I immediately in my flesh said no. I actually bought up the paper and I threw it across the room. I was in my dorm freshman year, second semester at NCCU. And I said, absolutely not. And I kid you not, as I was walking to the cafeteria, I heard the voice of the Lord. And he said, I want you to trust me, and I want you to be a holistic artist. And at the time I was like, what does that mean? I don't even know what it means. I don't know, and I said, well, Lord, if this is what you want me to do, I need you to pay for everything. I can't afford it. I need you. I can't. Howard's expensive. I can't pay for anything, or I can't afford it. My parents we just cannot afford this. And so if this is what you want me to do, I was like, if this is what you want me to do, if you want me to study management and I want to be an actor, I don't got time for this stuff, whatever. And I said, and I went home to my uncle who has passed now. He was battling with cancer, and he said, you can do this. My uncle Elliot, and he was saying, you can do this, you have it, and so you should try it. And so I said, you know what, Lord, I will try it. And 4 years, I spent 3 years at Howard because I did 1 year at NCCU. I actually finished in 3 years, and many people do not do that. And in fact, the Lord was so sovereign that every year he took care of every payment. My parents have not to this day paid anything for my college experience by the grace of God. And there, my first year there at Howard, I absolutely didn't like it. I was like, I'm not a manager. I'm not a leader. I'm not anything. I'm an actor. But it was my professor, my junior year in college, where I said, I really want to try this acting thing again. Can you let me just audition? Well, I auditioned for some of the shows that was happening that junior year. I got one of the lead roles for my first ever Howard experience. And once I finished the show, I thought I was going to get the bug again to really take this acting thing seriously again. But actually, I was like, no, I'm a manager. I'm a leader. I had a really fantastic friend and mentor. Her name is Jasmine, and she just took me under her wings. And I became the president of the theater club there and just became a leader on campus. And from that experience of highs and lows, the Lord began to show me as I graduated college what holistic artist means. And that is somebody who's well-rounded in different areas. So many people was telling me that if you're a manager, be a manager, but if you're an actor, be an actor. And for so long, that was discouraging to me.
Right.
And to say, you know what, God, I know that you told me that I'm holistic, that I encompass everything. And so what I realized is that you can be an actor or you can be a manager. But you have to focus on one of those things. And when you do those things well, one of the things well, it will open you up to be able to do the other thing that you desire to do. And it doesn't mean that you can't do them at the same time, or you aren't able to do them at all. It's just that you have to know the season and the timing of everything.
Good.
And so,
That's good.
yeah. And so after I graduated and all that stuff, I began to start doing managerial things. And kind of just, I guess, just to fast forward the story, formerly I used to work with Duke Ellington School of the Arts as their a managing theater teacher, as well as their program coordinator. And then after that, I went to the DC Office of Cable Television, Film, Music, Entertainment, where I was an entertainment specialist, and I was helping. I was a project manager for for films and all that good stuff. And then, of course, the pandemic hit in 2020, and they dropped me like a bad habit, right? And which was a blessing from God, because it pushed me into entrepreneurship. It pushed me to realize that that the talents, the gifts that I have are so much bigger than one corporation. And so it has opened me up to start venturing out things and making my own path as I continue to develop as a young entrepreneur.
Okay. So you faced some adversity.
Yeah.
And however, you were able to overcome.
Yes.
And you were able to overcome with the help of the Lord, through faith and all that stuff. And I love it. As a young man, do you mind if I ask how old you are?
Oh, I'm 28. Yeah.
28 years old, and you're talking about the love of God. I can't help but just, I'm overwhelmed by, and like I said, to know you and to know where you came from or you come from. And you don't, some people go away and they forget about their home. They don't want to, acknowledge the fact that they're from Laurinburg, North Carolina, or Laurel Hill. But you're that person who says, these are my roots. This is where I'm from. These are the people who helped me get to where I am today. So let's talk about your unibrow. Let's talk about the unibrow. First of all, define what the unibrow is and what your unibrow means for you, because a lot of times when people have things such as unibrows or any type of thing that other people don't see as normal, they try to do things to hide it and all that. Sure. But I love the fact that you embrace your unibrow.
Absolutely. That's so funny. Well, first off, it's a family trait. So my mother's side of the family, not everybody, but some of the people, even down to some of my nephews or niece, we have a unibrow. It's a unique trait that the Lord, that's the way I was born. That's the way I grew up. It's a family trait. My grandmother, before she had a unibrow. My mom has a unibrow. My niece has a unibrow. My brother has a unibrow. And so, but it's funny you say about the whole embarrassment thing. I actually never dealt with embarrassment in middle school and high school. In fact, so from all the way up to middle school, I always wore one. I had, just my unibrow. But when I went to high school, I asked my mom, I said, hey, can I cut it? I wanted to try something different. Mm-hmm. And so I went to high school with two. I had two eyebrows, like a normal person. And I actually continued that when I went to college. And when I graduated college in 2016, I was in DC and I was working at this theater company, and I was a bit scruffy. I was missing a haircut. I think I was going like 3 weeks or so. But as I began to miss the haircut, I saw that my unibrow was actually coming back into surface. And for the first time in my life, I felt embarrassed by it. And I said, oh no, I got to get this cut. But I was about to cut it. The Lord arrested me. He said, no, I want to use this for your, I'm going to use this uniquely. I'm going to show you how to brand it. I'm going to show you how to use this. And so I said, well, God, okay. And so I just trusted the Lord. And I said, you know what? I will not cut it. I'm not going to cut it. I'm not going to be embarrassed by it. I'm going to, because as you grow, when you are a child, you have childlike faith, and you have, you don't worry about what people think.
Right.
You start seeing people looking at you crazy. And my mom has always taught me how, just told me to be unique and be myself. But when I felt that ink of fear or embarrassment, I challenged myself to keep it. And from that obedience, the Lord has began to download to me how I can use it and brand it. And so I've branded for my businesses. And so I haven't released any of that yet. I'm going to be releasing that stuff this year. But I'm excited about what God is doing with the unibrow, and then of course, if there's a role, if there's an acting role or whatever the case, I always, you cut it for that because you
Right.
put yourself into the character. But for my natural, who I am, I like to just be in my authentic, natural self. And that's that story. It's just I was born with it.
This is LV Hamer. This is
This
who
is
he is.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is the man with the unibrow. So when you say you're going to brand it, are you in t-shirts, commercials? What are you going to do?
Yeah, so my company, I have several businesses, and one of the businesses is a consulting business, but my parent company is kind of branded with my unibrow. Unibrow is kind of all in between with my family. The show is about moments of motivation. One of my motivations is my nephews and nieces. I have a lot of nephews and nieces, 10 to be exact, and 10, nephews and nieces alike. And they are one of my biggest, huge inspirations. And so I've incorporated them and my unibrow into the business ventures that I have. And so, and it's going to be, of course, it may be on t-shirts but it's in our family name. It's in our family businesses. I'm not at liberty to say right now what I can talk about is my consulting business that I have, which basically I help small businesses and artists to effectively communicate to their clientele. Whether that's helping them, I coach, meaning what a part of my consulting is coaching people, prepping people for auditions. Also, a part of what I do is I help manage. So if, for instance, a small business come to me and say, hey, I have a virtual event, I can virtually manage their event, or I can help them kind of figure out what they want to say market wise. So I've been helping some small businesses. I've been helping some artists kind of prep them for their auditions, or even some people who are interested in acting, helping them kind of do the beginner lessons. Right now I'm just doing beginner acting classes for people who are like, hey, I want to do this thing, whether you're young or old, and I'm just teaching you the basics. And then once I teach you the basics, you can go out and do your own thing. So that's what I've been doing for the past 2 years, as far as, really laying the foundation for business. And as you know, as a businesswoman yourself, business, man, it is tough.
It's tough.
And it's tough. And as you try to get the legal rights for things, and as you're trying to brand things, it takes a while. And so I'm inspired by you. I am.
By me?
Yes. I mean,
how do I inspire you?
Well, look what you're doing. Everything that one of the things you overcame cancer, you was battling all that. So that's been a fight, and you've been able to kind of show up every day. And then to see you do, before I left Laurinburg, you were doing exercise classes and everything, motivating family members of mine. And then you're constantly motivating people. So hence the show. So thank you for your consistency, your brilliance, right? And your obedience to just say, I'm going to show up to the world no matter what. No matter what happens, no matter what I face, I am going to be resilient. So I'm inspired, and I'm going to be calling you for some tips as far as business and everything, as I'm new into this whole world.
Well, thank you so much, Laverne. And of course, I give God all the praise and glory, because I know without doubt that if it was not for the Lord on my side, and my family, my faith, my church, and my friends, the struggle would have been worse. And so I just, again, I like to pause and remember people. I have family members, friends who are still struggling with the fight, going through cancer. But we believe in God for miraculous miracles, for turnarounds. And you're right. Business is not easy. Dealing with people in business, it's not easy. Like you said, I show up every day with a smile on my face, and but you don't see the weights that are on my shoulders, the heaviness that's in my heart. But when my purpose, my passion, my goal, my vision, and what God has called me to do, That's what drives me forward every day, every day, every day. Every challenge that I have, everything that I meet, I wake up, give it to God, and say, hey, you're going to give me the strength to make it through. Just like we just went through this accreditation, and it was hard because I'm now accrediting my own business, going through for my own business. Whereas before, I'm always helping other businesses, making sure they're rounded, providing them the consultation they need. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't have anyone I can call on to consult for or help me, which I did. And I end up calling on one of my friends, one of my colleagues who was able to help me through it. And I'm just so grateful to God for that.
Yeah.
So thank you for that plug in, Laverne. We just again give God the praise. And I want to say to those of you who are on here with us tonight, thank you for joining. We appreciate you taking your time out to listen to this young man's story. He has a powerful story, and I cannot wait to see what's next for LV Hamer.
Yeah.
So, and you've told us a lot of what's next for you, and I hear how you have this drive to pull, not just for yourself, but to pull other people up. Do you see yourself doing, maybe some stuff in the community, coming back to Laurinburg, maybe doing some acting classes or something during the summer?
Yeah. So I'm the dreams and visions I have for Laurinburg is I know that, so I've been away, and it's been intentional because it gives me opportunity to kind of see what the world is around me.
Yes.
And so as I go home, and when I go home, I get strength because my family is really big to me. It's very important to me. And then when I come here in the Maryland area, I'm able to really dream. I'm able to really see and what I see around me, because things are more advanced, right? And so as I move into new adventures this year, one of my biggest things is I want to invest in the food industry in our city. I want to invest in buildings. I want to invest in houses. I want to,
do it, Laverne. Do it.
And so, even partnering with some of the other successful people that's coming out of Laurinburg,
right?
Making sure that we bring that stuff back. I'm always open for teaching. I was teaching some, I'm always giving back in that way where I teach young actors or young people. I coach them or whatever, whether it's via Zoom or when I come home, I always try to make time. And then of course, my big focus is my nephews and nieces. Those are my heart. Those are my focus. And I always feel like if you can't clean your house first, you can't do it outward. And so it's always my heart to start inward first, and then I go out to the people. And so, I have one nephew who's already graduated, one is about to graduate. And so, and just being prayerful about them. But I have a lot of dreams, a lot of hopes. Will I go back to live in Laurinburg? I don't think so. But will I have property? Will we have things there? Before I leave this world, I want to make sure that we have legacy. Legacy is built, especially, with our family heritage, but that impacts the entire community, but not just our community in Laurinburg, but the entire state, and in the world at large, if the Lord allows. And so I'm excited and about partnering with so many different people who can and it's even been on social media. I'm not really a social media person, but seeing other people who I grew up with who are doing really amazing things. I'm excited about that. You know what I mean? Because we are bringing it back to the community, and making sure that the kids these days get the same treatment that we got and more. And so yeah, I plan to do a lot in the city. And so I just pray that my hands and everything that I'm able to start doing is to start doing that soon.
Yeah, and you're so right. There are so many people who come back and give back to Laurinburg, Scotland County, various drives. Tracy Williams, she's always doing something. So it's a wonderful thing to see people give back, working together, whether it's through church, through community services, politics, whatever it may be. We don't forget about our city. We don't forget about where we came from. And I absolutely love that, and I give respect to those individuals who do that. So, what is your message to the young folk, young men who are coming up behind you as they embrace, this world? What is your message?
My message is simple: is understanding your identity, understanding who you are and whose you are. If you understand who you are first, if you start realizing your identity, because growing up, I had a confusion of identity and all that things. And then when I began to understand God for myself, and I started seeing what God had called me in Ephesians 1. And so now that I understand that, my mission, every time I deal with any young person, every time I deal with any young person, whether that's a male or a female, it's always your identity. Who are you? Understand who you are, because you get swept up if you don't.
Right.
And then once you understand who you are and you begin to start understanding yourself and you begin to love yourself for who you are then open and available to receive the love of God. Because you can't receive the love of God if you don't love yourself first. Because a God who died for your sins without anything in return, that's not something that you can kind of fathom if you don't love yourself first. Let me put my charger on. And so that's the biggest thing that I focus on is identity. Identity is huge. It's a huge thing. And so I always tell people that you have to know who you are. You got to know, you can't allow Laurinburg to define you as far as you being in a small town, you changing your mindset, all those different things. Is really about understanding thyself. And when you understand yourself and not understand what the world, because right now the world is telling us that we are this, we're that we
right.
can do this, you can do that. But it's like, no, we got to go back to the basics. Who are you? And then especially if you don't have parents who are not pushing that, who are driving you back to who you are. When I grew up, my parents they've always made sure that I understand who I was. They were, made sure that I was unique, make sure that they know that I'm unique my own way. And then I had to grow up and realize, like, oh, the things that they were teaching me is right. And so it's just about understanding who you are. So I'm always interested in talking to people about, what do you think about what's your identity? Where your identity lie? Does it lie in social media? Is it, all the things, because right now people got so many different outlets.
Mm-hmm.
And as you see, suicide is happening, and people are, successful people are killing themselves. And then you see these divorces and all the things. And it's just about going back to your identity. And so if you can catch that at an early age, then I think that, we have more godly men, we have more godly women. So that's big for me.
All right. Well, there you have it. To our listening audience tonight, Mr. L.V. Hamer, all the way from Maryland, North Carolina. He has shared his heart and his passion with us. And look him up. He's doing great things. And we expect for greater, bigger things to come out of Maryland as it relates to him and what he's doing as a business artist. So is there anything else that you would like to share with us tonight? How can people get in contact with you if they want your consulting business? How can they find you?
Yeah, so you can look me up on my social medias. I am LV Hamer on Instagram, LV Hamer on Facebook. You can DM me, and then also my email address is iamlvhamer@gmail.com. And you can email me about, different services. And I'll be more public about those things in the coming months or so that you can make sure that you can go to the website, that type of thing. And then also, I had the opportunity to shoot a movie last year. And so my first featured indie film will be premiering this summer. I shot it with one of my cousins. And so I'm excited about that. So I'll be posting about that as well. So you can find me right here on Facebook and DM me, and let's chat, let's talk.
Let's chat, let's talk. And there you have it. This young man was told, there was not room for him in the acting arena at the school. He ended up going into the area of management, and still God has allowed him, as he said, to have this holistic approach to being a business artist and still being able to do management, consulting, and act. And on top of all of that, be able to have a servant's heart, serve the Lord, and promote the Lord Jesus Christ no matter where he goes. And that makes a world of a difference. The longer we serve the Lord, the longer we put him first, hey, great things are going to continuously happen in our life. He has given you his information. If you want to know more about him, look him up on Facebook, Instagram, and
and LinkedIn, I'm LB Hamer as well. And then again, my email is IamLBHamer at gmail.com.
At gmail.com. Thank you guys for joining us tonight. God bless you. And we hope and pray that you've enjoyed this broadcast. Please remember, like, click, tag, and share this broadcast. Like, tick, and tag and share this. And also follow me, Moments of Motivation with Michelle, on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram. And we have some great people coming before us this season to share great information with us. So we invite you to come back and share with us. We will be sharing out our schedule for this year in a different way than what we did last year, to give everybody opportunity to come on and join with us. And again, thank you guys for joining us. And LV, it's yours for last words before we go off the air.
I just want to say thank you for having me. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to kick off season 2. I just pray that the Lord will continue to bless this platform, and that the people that will come on will speak truth to power. Thank you for allowing me and the space for my family and everybody to get a chance to get a little bit of motivation before we go into the second month of this year.
Right.
This year is moving so fast.
It is.
I just would tell everybody who is listening just to stay encouraged and stay grounded. And whatever you believe in God for in this season of your life, it shall come to pass in his time.
Amen. Amen. God bless you all and have a great night.